Hey HCDA, and welcome back to the Dyson Sphere Program, and specifically the combat update. We have angry robots on the other side of the planet. Last time around, I kicked their asses with some of these turrets over here that have an awesome range. Just look at that. But what I want to try today is a tactic I'm kind of stealing from my real-time strategy past. I used to play that genre a lot. It seems to have completely disappeared off the planet. That's a story for another video. But we might be able to kind of cheese things by taking the fight to the enemy early on. So I'm wondering what happens if we set up very close to this base, draw these stronger units in, and see if we can actually destroy this base here. Will it work? I don't know. I'll try it so you don't have to. Alrighty, so what I have done over here is make a whole line of turbines. I'm not entirely sure why, but hey, I might as well get my base some power while I'm at it and make sure I have plenty of power to actually power my guns. I don't want to get too close to these robots because they do get angry really fast if you're not careful, so I'm gonna set up a nice little defense base over here. Alright, so here is the idea. We have these turrets over here. I'm going to walk over here, say hello. Yep, there we go.
Warning, warning. You're about to intrude Dark Fog Control Room. They're highly likely to launch an attack. Press Z to enter the combat interface. It assists Icarus in engagement.
Oh, that went pretty well. Oh, there's actually turrets on there as well. It does feel like they are respawning pretty quickly, which is, I guess, kind of the point. So we might have to build some additional turrets if we're going to do... Oh, actually, they just ran out. Oh, these turrets hurt, like, a lot. Yeah, okay. So, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And what I've done is I actually moved this up a little closer to the base, so it's slightly closer. And I came prepared because I brought myself some missiles. So, first of all, same principle applies.
Warning.
Just going to try and draw them in.
Dark Fog Control.
That works pretty much like we wanted. I can just stand here, I think. Yeah, pretty safe here. So what I'm now going to do, and yes, thank you tutorial, I know I'm under attack, that was kind of the point. I'm gonna place this here. It should be in the range of most of the base. Actually, maybe move it up slightly. There we go. I, of course, brought myself some missiles to put it. Look at these things. These are awesome. And yeah, well, yeah, this seems to work. This seems to work pretty well. Oh, let's not get myself killed. Actually, wonder how do I repair damage done to myself? Oh, actually that happens all by itself, so that's good, that's good to know. So we are taking down this base pretty efficiently, I would say, assuming I don't get myself killed by being an idiot. So I'm wondering what happens once this base is actually down. What we can actually do, in the meanwhile, because this serves no function anymore whatsoever, is move up this line. Oh yes, we're doing a turret rush. For those of you that played things like StarCraft or whatever, you probably know what I mean. If you don't worry, it's not that relevant. Okay then. That was it. Oh, there's actually a camp over there as well. What does that do? A production facility, which is used to build long-range units. Well, that doesn't seem to be fighting back, so that's a good thing. So that means we could actually do this. And maybe do this. We're going to have to power it, of course. Really? There we go. I'm not entirely sure this is one is needed, actually.
You're unstoppable no matter what Dark
Yes, I
Fog
am.
does. After a long night, here comes the dawn. We've completely destroyed a planetary base. Dark Fog Core Driller can't stop us from expanding factories on its ruins. You can bury the driller by using foundation. Yet a great amount of soil piles will be consumed.
Okay, so first of all, it's interesting to see here that the threat's actually going down. So that's a thing. The threat on the hive is actually also going down. So this seems like a pretty efficient strategy. Oh wow, look at this. This thing is actually drilling all the way to the core of the planet. So in order to remove this, we're going to need 250 foundations and we're going to need 100,000 soil piles. So apparently I have the soil, we just need the foundations. I haven't actually made any of that. What is this? The thing is still flying here, the relay station. Oh, what's happening? What's happening? Oh, they're trying to rebuild. Ooh, sneaky bastards. Okay, so it's a very good thing we've built this over here, but that should, I think, keep them from rebuilding. So let me go and make some foundations and see what happens once we cover this up. Okay, so I made some foundations just by hand, nothing special, and we can actually push this button now, refill the core driller. Buildings fully destroyed, units wiped, foundations right. Yeah, so we meet all the requirements. That's it. Okay. What do you do now? Where are you going? Whoop.
Data shows there aren't any natural titanium veins on this planet.
Where are you flying off to?
You can obtain some titanium ores by collecting gravel. If you need a large amount of titanium, find a planet with titanium veins as soon as possible.
What's happening? What is flying to my planet? Should I be worried? Probably. I might have accidentally kicked the hornet's nest, which is apparently flying around my star system, because this looks like a giant hive. It's probably the hive that we were looking at earlier. You're actually not going to my planet. What are you doing? You're going to the secondary planet? Can we see what you're doing over here? There is a base over here. Ah, it's kind of like vessels docking. I have no idea what's going on here. This is super interesting. Okay, well, at least they're not coming to wipe me out, so I don't know. We can actually view the other planets now as well, so let's see. There's actually 2 bases over here. Okay. This is the one I had in mind to make my main base on. Only has 1 though, so that's good. And as you can see, we currently no longer have any presence of the enemy on our planet. So it's actually a pretty efficient way to wipe them off your planet if you do it like this. It also doesn't seem that the hive is still registering me. I'm not entirely sure if that means that the other enemies are still progressing. Probably. We're probably not going to get off this easy, but that does mean that we found a pretty efficient way to kind of get your initial area safe in the early game. Okay, so with our home planet safe for the moment, I think it's time to start expanding our home base. Because as you can see, we're still dealing with this tiny little facility that's just producing blue and red signs, and even not a large amount of those. Although I have been able to plow through a lot of the more basic things that we're going to need in order to expand. But that's actually the upside, I think, of having to deal with some of this combat stuff, is that it's a natural way to spend a little bit of time waiting while your factory does its thing, particularly in the area of research, because especially in the early game, sometimes you just kind of stand around waiting for things to be done. And of course you can just expand your factory, that's probably what you should be doing anyway, but I think it's just a natural way to progress. Anyway, yeah, so what do we need to do? Well, we need to set up some chemical production, and we need to deal with things like power, because honestly you need a ton of power in this part of the game. I'm also going to take down, I think I already did that, yeah. I'm going to take down the turrets that we've built on the other side of the planet, where the base was before. And I'm probably going to have to set up some defenses around my base, although I'm not entirely sure where to put them, because I have no idea if we're going to be attacked on this planet. Probably, considering we have like planetary shields and stuff later down the line. But for now, we seem to be safe, so I'm not entirely sure what to do with that. So I'm just going to stockpile those defenses and keep them on me in case we need them. So on the topic of power, are you seeing this? For real, are you seeing what's happening here? All these wind turbines right there on the water. Yes, as usual, we've got some sneaky little updates in this patch as well. It took me a while to actually notice. I noticed it while I was building the long turbine corridor to the base that I just showed you, if you look at, it took me a while to find this actually, if you look at the steel smelting, it now says can build wind turbine on water. Yes, this is the best thing ever, because now it actually makes your home planet a lot less annoying to settle on, because you can use the water areas that you usually have no use for to get yourself some power, and then you can actually use the land areas to build the rest of your factory. It's still not perfect. I mean, the water still gets in the way for your actual factory, but yeah, it makes your life a lot easier compared to how this used to be. Okay, so next on the list is to actually double up on the red and blue science production, just to speed things up a little bit more. We're going to need a lot more of that production anyway soon, and most importantly, we're going to need more oil, because we need to start producing things like graphene, acid, plastics, you know the drill, and we're going to need a little bit more than these small refinery facilities that we have over here. The first refinery is making some organic crystals, so we have all the things we need in order to actually make those titanium crystals later on for the yellow science. We're also making some plastic in here, but that is only being used for the organic crystal. We're making some energetic graphite over here in order to make, well, first of all, the plastic, but also some diamonds, because of course we also need diamonds for our yellow science. This is just a tiny little facility, but this is going to make all the diamonds we need, because honestly that's a very cheap and efficient recipe. And then the second refinery, or I guess I should say chemical plants, is producing, as you can see, the acid as well as the graphene that we're going to need for the more complicated stuff later on. So this is just going to stock some of that up, so we have a stockpile to draw from. As you can see, I'm once again low on power. I'm making a fair amount of science now though, so all I need to do is scale everything up, prepare some things like a lot of smelters, belts and so on, and then we can take things to the second planet and potentially get wiped out by the enemy that's already there. Okay, so flight level 2 research, so we can actually take off and fly away from the planet. We have a pretty decent facility up and running that's producing all kinds of resources that we're going to need later on. We have all the science ticking away. There's still so much science to do. It's amazing with all these new upgrades how much stuff you actually need to do, or you can do. You don't need to do anything just yet. And it takes a considerable amount of time, so might as well spend that in setting up a base on the second planet, or, you know, get killed while doing so. Okay, there's now 4 of these things on the lava planet, so they're definitely expanding over there. Might have wanted to do this a little faster, I guess. Actually, it's not that bad. On this planet we're actually aiming for, there's only 1, so that's a good thing. I'm not sure if that's just pure luck or by design or what's going on there, but there's all kinds of resources on this planet that we actually need, and I hope we won't have too much issue dealing with this one defense platform over here. Now what's actually interesting is that you can't just plummet down on the planet anymore. You actually need to look where the enemy is, and also think a little bit about where we're going to locate ourselves. Now honestly, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. There's another ship arriving here. I keep being distracted by that, I'm sorry. So we have a pretty nice location over here. We have all kinds of resources over here in the top and on the right side. So I think if we build our base over here and build some defenses to make sure we can defend from the enemies coming from the south. I'm not entirely sure if that's actually the south. Yeah, it is. Southwest, I guess. Anyway, I think we should be fine, assuming that there's no more enemies landing on this planet, but I'm guessing we're going to find out soon enough. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up a very simple basic facility that's going to be producing all kinds of things. It's mostly going to be focusing on the things that we don't actually have on the other planets, so we can get that going, like titanium, silicon, and as a result of that, things like the components as well as the processors that you make from those. Basically just expanding our production in a very natural way that you would do pretty much every time you visit the second planet in your system. And to give you a better picture of what it looks like when it's done, here you go. So what I've been doing here is actually also including all the basic stuff you need to make things like belts and sorters and stuff like that, so that you don't need to go back to the other planet to go pick those up. You just pick some of these resources from these boxes that are good to go, and you just make some on the spot. Everything that you make at this point is really quick to make, so you don't really need them all. We're definitely going to be building one very shortly, just for convenience sake, but you don't really need that until you're actually a fair bit into the game already. Just because at some point you're going to need like 50 or 100 smelters at the same time. If you then need to craft them, yeah, it's going to take a while. As you can see, I also have these logistic distributors on top of that. I don't actually have any of those just yet. I don't have any logistics bots to transport stuff anyway, but that's definitely something we're going to do. So the blueprint already comes supplied with that, so that I don't have to worry about setting all these things all over again, like I've already done a few dozen times by now. And in order to make sure we actually have power to power all of this, because these wind turbines aren't really cutting it, at least not if you only have a couple of them like I do, I'm going to set up a solar panel facility straight away to make sure we not only power our factory, but we also can actually power our defenses, because as you can see, we have the first wave, well, not incoming just yet, but it's definitely building up right over there. Okay, so while I'm working on my second set of basics, so this basically means I now have everything available in order to make a mall and actually automate all the basic production. And of course I built a nice little ring of power around my planet in order to do that. You don't actually need to make a ring out of these turbines, but it just looks good. Actually wondering if building a ring is a good idea, because that means I can be attacked at any point in this ring, so that's a little bit inconvenient. But speaking of attacks, we'll get an attack very soon. Luckily I do have some turrets, well, a lot of turrets actually, and quite a bit of ammo as well, so I'm hoping that will be enough to defend against the first wave on the second planet. And I guess, let's see where they're at. Oh, they're actually, yeah, they're attacking the ring, so that's a little inconvenient, but there's only a couple of them, so we should be able to defend against that fairly easily, I hope. Let's see, where are you? Oh, that's actually a little bit more than I thought, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. I do have an energy shield now, as you can see, they're reflecting of my Icarus. That's something you can actually upgrade. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Actually, I don't remember where it is. Oh, here. So energy shield. I actually have the rank 2 now. Still under attack. Where? Oh, there. Okay. That's interesting. They're destroying my buildings. And look, we're automatically rebuilding the things that we lost, so that's really convenient. And I think that was it for the first attack, so nothing too bad there. With the enemy out of the way, this would be where I actually wanted to automate my base, so get all these logistic distributors up and running, make a mall and stuff like that. But I noticed that we're actually going to need engines for that, because these drones, or these bots I should say, actually need engines now. They changed the recipe on me, so my initial layout is not going to work. So I figured while I'm at it, I might as well make another little layout that builds a couple of these more defensive things, like the stuff we're going to need for the missiles, for the ammo, for the bots. Generally speaking, let's just get going and make sure we can actually automate everything and also defend our base at the same time. Okay, so here's what I came up with in terms of my little armory production. So I have a single belt with just a single miner of coal incoming to make some combustible units. These things are really slow to make, but they're also really cheap to make. You don't really need them for much other than the missiles initially, so I'm not sure you need this much, but might as well build them. The engines, on the other hand, you do need pretty much for a lot of things, so I figured why not make a whole line for those. So this is kind of what made the basis for this build. In order to make those, we're going to need quite a bit of copper actually. We actually have a little bit of copper left over after we supply all these 6 assemblers with that, so I figured why not make a little bit of ammunition while we're at it. This is probably more than enough. It's not going to be a really fast production, but hey, I just built it and it already has 65 ammo, so yeah, working like intended. Well, we need some copper, some coils and some magnets, and other than that, it's a pretty straightforward build. So now I actually do have everything I need to automate my base, so let's get to that. There we go, I have this all set up. We now have the logistics distributors and bots in production. I actually messed up my processor unit, my processor production I should say. Messed it up a little bit because I cut off my own silicon, so it wasn't actually doing anything, so a little bit of a delay on that. Other than that, I also have my mall up and running. I had this little spare opening here on the side, so I figured why not put in the gauss turret in my mall design as well. It fit right in and it requires the exact same materials as all the other basic units, and that means that I now have turrets as well as ammo for those turrets in production, and that's a good thing because we're about to be attacked once again. Okay, so let's find out if offense is actually the best defense, and let's just stay close to the base to see if we can just snag these attackers off as soon as they leave their base. So going in different directions, so that's not making that easier. But feels like we're doing a pretty good job. Why is it not using its laser though? That's interesting. Let's just hunt them down, and yeah, I think we will be fine. Assuming this is all of them, but I think it is. I think it is. Did anyone go to the other direction? No. Okay, so still no real danger here. This thing is leveling up slowly though, so these waves will become bigger as we go, but for now I can hold them off by myself. I won't be able to hold them off for long by myself, so I figured why not also automate the missile production, the missile launcher production, and the, what is these called? The battlefield analysis base. That way I have all the defense options that I currently have unlocked actually available and automated. And considering these all needs 4 different resources and each one needs a slightly different version of the resources, fitting them into the mall is really inconvenient, so I'm just going to use the approach that I've been using for pretty much all the other similar buildings like that, and just automate them separately. Now, I don't think I need more than one assembler making these. I also don't think I need a huge amount of these, so making sure that these are in a box that doesn't contain too many open spaces makes a lot of sense to me. I've set up the next basic facility, as you can see over here, which is going to be producing the titanium alloy that I still have to research, but in order to do that I actually need yellow science, so it's definitely time to do the usual thing where we pick up some of this titanium, bring it to the other planet, start researching yellow science, make sure we have the ILS unlocked, that we make some particle containers by bringing some graphene as well as acid to this place, and then basically automate the entire thing between planets. That's a lot of fun, but if I leave this planet, I am a little bit worried that I will get back to it and find it half destroyed because we're about to be attacked. So I'm actually wondering if we can also clear this planet of the Fox presence. Okay, well, same plan as before. Let's make sure we have our turret set up. Maybe not dump all the ammo in there. Let's spread it between the 2 bases. I'm not entirely sure if 2 bases is going to be enough, but I'm actually trying to find out how strong these units are. They have flying units now as well, so that's new. They are launching that attack with 15 units. Where are you going? Where are you going? Stay here. Any stragglers? No, doesn't look like it. So yeah, working like intended, should be pretty safe. I'm not entirely sure what these units are doing flying off to the side, if that's just part of their attack pattern, or if that is meant to do something different, I don't know. But so far so good. Now we need to slowly move up to the base. Also helps if you actually keep your facilities powered, but that's a little mistake on my part. The rockets are doing a fairly good job at killing everything on the base. And by the looks of it, it seems like most of these facilities are about to go down, and also my voice is about to go down, if you can hear it. But yeah, I think we are pretty able and successfully able to clear this planet with this specific tactic. As long as right now we only have 1 base, this seems very viable. I'm not entirely sure if this will be viable in a planet that has multiple bases, more defenses and stuff like that, but so far so good. Alrighty, that's all the units and all the buildings cleared, and it looks like we can actually refill this thing right away, and that should mean that the relay is once again going to take off, yep, there it goes, and fly back to the hive. Where's the hive? Ooh, it seems that the hive is growing in strength. That's going to be a problem. There's a lot of ships flying to this planet as well. Let's take a look. We have 4 bases here now. I'm actually wondering if they're taking resources away from this planet or if this is just like a visual thing and... not entirely sure. Can we tell by looking at the planet? The resources don't seem to go down, so I'm assuming this is just the resources we'll have available to us no matter how many fog units are there. But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, the relay is going to go back to home base. And that should now mean that this planet is safe to leave. I can do all the ILS stuff and things like that. And in the next episode, assuming my voice holds out, I want to try and see if we can do a little bit about these ships and stuff like that. Basically take the fight into the air. Maybe make some attack drones. Let's see, this is a ground force. That's not what we need. We need ships. Space forces, corvettes. What do we need in order to make these? Actually, we need purple science. So we're going to have to progress a little bit further into the game in order to do that. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you didn't mind my voice too much. And I hope to catch you in the next one.